motion up front.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, June 15th, 2016. We're in the Senator Hearing Room in Courthouse Square for our weekly Board of Commissioners meeting. We start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you'd please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. First item is always public comment. Nobody has signed up to speak. So we'll move right to consent calendar. And Commissioner, if you would, we have to remove one item off of the action.
Right. So, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to remove item number 4 under action to consider approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation. I understand that the figures need adjusting, and we'll bring that back when it's been corrected.
All right, I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that item's removed. And then consent.
So now, Mr. Chair, I would move today's consent calendar. That's when I get the consent calendar, it's always really long.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I give, thank you. So under Business Services, Human Resources, approve a recommendation to adjust upward salary range for Accountant 2, class number 035, Managerial Accountant, class number 040. Approve a recommendation to uphold current pay grade for Financial Accounting Manager, class number 026, Accounting Clerk, class number 031, Accounting Specialist, class 032, and Chief Accountant, class 036. Under the Clerk's Office, approve the contract for services with, I should have checked this, is it Cenevo, John?
Could be.
For $200,000 through June 30th, 2019 to provide supplies for vote by mail. Under Health, approve amendment number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement with the Marion County Sheriff's Office for an additional $156,630 through June 30th, 2017 to provide the mobile crisis response team. Approve amendment number 6 to the intergovernmental agreement with Salem Hospital to extend through July 30th, 2016 and add $13,109.04 in funding for 24/7 mental health screening. You always wonder what will happen if they don't get their 4 cents. Approve an order establishing fee schedules for alternative payment methodology case rates for high-fidelity behavioral health services of Marion County Health Department. Under Public Works, schedule a public hearing for July 13th, 2016 to consider amendments to the Marion County Urban and Rural Zone Codes. And under Sheriff's Office, approve amendment number 1 to the lease agreement with Torsk Properties, LLC to renew the location at 580 Glatt Circle, Suite B, Woodburn for an additional $51,234.48 through June 30th, 2018.
Second the motion. Any further discussion?
Well, just on the alternative payment methodology, this was the order that Gloria asked us to do that was back on the agenda this week to formalize the action that we took last week.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Call a question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Consent's approved. We have then 3 items, really 4 on action. The first is under finance. We consider approval of a request to sell real property, tax ID number R71640, located at 1272 23rd Street Northeast in Salem, back to the prior owner and remove property from public auction that was scheduled for June 23rd, 2016. Jeff White and Karen Galvin Price, who said she'd never be back in front of us again. Isn't this nice?
Right, never say never.
I couldn't say never. No.
Oh, I thought that's what I heard. So, Jeff, one of you?
Well, I'm Jeff White, Chief Financial Officer, but I'm going to turn this over to Karen.
Okay.
So this property at 1272 23rd Street was deeded to the county through tax foreclosure last year in November. It is currently on the list to be sold at auction this coming Thursday. But the family of the prior owner just found out in May that she passed away. And she contacted legal department and requested that they purchase back the property. I have attached a letter from the estate of the prior owner requesting that to purchase back the property in accordance with statute and our policies. One of the things that she did put in her letter is she wants to waive the administrative fee that we normally put on purchases of property from the prior owner. They do have to pay the prior taxes and interest that are due on the property, but we have normally in our policy also attached an administrative fee, and they are requesting that be waived. If you do approve selling it back to the prior owner, then I will also ask that we remove this property from the auction. Questions?
Couple questions.
No,
Mr.
please,
Chair.
go ahead.
So first question, so I'm reading it, so it wasn't that they were unaware that the person passed away, they were unaware that the property had been foreclosed, is that right? That's what it says in the write-up.
A little of both. Apparently the prior owner, Miss Springer, yes, thank you. When her father passed away, she moved out of the property at 23rd and moved into his property. And they were aware of that. They just weren't aware that she hadn't been paying the taxes on the 23rd Street property. And then when she passed away, the family got involved with the finances and realized that the county had foreclosed on the property because the taxes had not been paid.
Right, okay, yeah, that sounds like what it says in the write-up. So then the other question is, what would be the percentage and amount of the administrative fee that's being requested to be waived?
Well, we normally add the 10% of the fee. So if we sell the property back without the fee, it would be $19,145.60. With the fee, it would be $21,702.49. So a difference of $2,556.89.
So that 2,556.89, that is the administrative fee? It doesn't
Correct.
include the back taxes or anything
Correct.
else? Right, okay.
Correct.
And that, excuse me, that fee is actually partially charged by the assessor's office and partially by finance.
Right, but mostly the finance.
It's mostly finance. It has to do with the time that Karn's put into the work dealing with the foreclosed property. And to this point, we have not waived, that fee hasn't been waived before.
It has been or has not?
Has not.
Has not. Excuse me, are you finished?
No, did they give a reason why, is there a hardship reason they want to waive the fee, or what's or they feel like their circumstances are extenuating in terms of the estate, or what is the reason that they gave for asking to waive the fee?
In the letter, the last part of it, they said they're prepared to pay back the fee, except for the additional fee presents a hardship for my family. The cost of rehabilitating the home for the benefit for the neighborhood and the county will exceed $50,000. So they're looking for ways to save money to use it towards the house. That's the way I read it.
I don't believe it's a hardship issue from income standpoint. The granddaughter, who is acting as the attorney on this.
She's a niece, but
Niece, okay.
Yeah.
Niece who's acting as the attorney. They're professional people. They just see a lot of cost going into this house, which they want to have more for sentimental reasons. It was their grandmother's or great aunt's house.
It isn't really relevant, but I'm curious, the value of the property is what? Just roughly.
I'm thinking around 150, but that isn't what we have at auction, because we always reduce it.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I don't have that
All right,
right
that's
up.
fine.
I should, but
And
I don't.
just for discussion's sake, could we consider a reduced fee as a compromise?
We could.
So what, like, cut it in half
Cut
or
it in
something,
half.
5%? I know how you do things.
Yeah, well, then I wanted
kinda caught on to the
two-third
pattern here.
reduction.
If I may just add one more comment. And certainly you can reduce, eliminate, waive, or do nothing, whatever you choose. For me, the challenge always comes when we're dealing with foreclosed properties. There are always people who have financial distress. That's why we
Sure, that's
foreclose
why
on the
they're-
property.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that means how do you respond to every request to waive fees?
Exactly.
when you
And
do one.
precedent, and why for you and not for me, yeah. Right?
And this isn't a case of a prior owner trying to move back into the house
Right.
or anything like that, but
Gloria?
Mr. Chair, I would just make one more note in the letter here. It does say that the estate had sufficient funds to pay the taxes. So the deceased person did have sufficient funds. You don't know the value of the entire estate that was left, even though it does look like they will be investing a substantial amount, but they will benefit from their investment as well.
The assessed value is 105,000.
Thank you.
So that was a little bit high. And then that's been discounted. It has a lot of deferred maintenance.
Has it just been actually left since she moved out?
Yes.
I see.
With a lot of personal contents inside.
One more thing's going through my mind. Do we even have to sell it back to them? I know we,
No,
so that's an option
it's an
too.
option. The statute allows the county to sell it back, but you're not required to. Some counties don't.
I'm not sure I'm aware of a time that we have not.
No, I know
Or
we
that
always
request.
do. I'm just trying to think, are we already giving them a bit of a, break's the wrong word, but some kind of credit that they, we're giving them first shot, we're not having them go through the auction and perhaps pay a higher price there, who knows?
Yeah, it would be considerably higher at the auction. I apologize for not bringing that information with
Fine.
me.
Yeah, she just passed away in May,
Yes.
and then they learned about it 10 days later. So,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I always worry about setting a precedent
Mhm.
about not, about removing the fees, because then what do you do the next time, and the next time, and the
That's-
next time?
Just exactly right, and I understand that time and effort's been spent to get it to this point that should be paid back.
all right, well, how about if I try a motion? We'll see where it goes. Okay, Mr. Chair, I would move that the board approve the request to sell the real property, tax ID R71640, located at 1272 23rd Street Northeast in Salem, back to the prior owner, remove the property from public action scheduled for June 23rd, 2016. And I won't include in my motion anything about reducing the fee.
All right.
So,
I'll second it. Any further discussion then?
yep.
So we're clear, it's just as it was recommended
Right.
then. All right. I'll call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes.
Thank you.
And thanks for your efforts. Good to see you again, perhaps next week. All right, now we move to Public Works, two items left. The first is considering approval of an order transferring jurisdiction to portion of Steelhammer Road to the city of Silverton. Cindy Schmidt, and we have two items related to this, so go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Schmidt. I'm the county engineer. The two items are very much partners in this issue today. It has to do with a road called Steelhammer Road that is on the east side of Silverton. It is about 3/4 inside city limits and about 1/4 of it is outside city limits, but inside the urban growth boundary. County has maintenance responsibility for the entire length of the road presently. There's been a considerable amount of new development in Silverton in the way of some smaller and medium-sized subdivisions, and there's a 40-lot subdivision going under construction on the portion of the road, and they will be improving a section of the road. And in addition to that, the city of Silverton has been collecting funds towards Steelhammer Road improvements specifically. And so they had a pot of funds, and they wanted to do kind of a combined public-private improvement of the road. The difficulty we ran into was that the county standards for what they would have to build was a little bit wider than what the city wanted to try to build with funds that they had available. So the city requested that the city be able to maybe take over that road so that they could build all this improvement under the current city standards. So we were facing at the county the need to overlay this road. Probably would have happened this summer as part of our resurfacing package. and it was premature to do that anyway, given all of the work that's happening on the roadway. So we offered the city the value of the resurfacing work for this permanent trade of the roadway. And they thought that was a very good idea. It also allowed them some additional funds to complete their project the way they wanted to. So because a portion of the road is inside city limits and a portion is out, there's two different processes that need to happen in order to effectively transfer jurisdiction. The first item here is for the portion of the roadway that is inside the city limits, and there's a statutory process for surrendering jurisdiction from one agency to another. The exhibit on the back of the package shows the extent of that roadway. It essentially runs from the State Highway 213 or Oak Street down to Reserve Street, and that portion will, with the hopeful approval of this order, will actually transfer that jurisdiction so that the city will 100% be the road authority, the maintenance jurisdiction, and everything for that section of roadway. The county will have no vested interest in that portion of the roadway any longer. The second item we'll be discussing is an intergovernmental agreement that addresses that remaining piece from Reserve Street to Evans Valley Road, which is currently outside of city limits, so we can't use the actual formal jurisdictional order transfer process for that piece.
Okay.
So, can I answer any questions on this first piece?
Just so I know, so the whole project you're talking about would go clear to the corner at Evans Road? And
The physical project the city's doing?
well, just the ownership, control, future maintenance would be the city's up to
Yes.
that point.
Yes, the goal here was to get such that in exchange for the amount of money to resurface that entire length, that the city would, in some capacity, take over control of that, the maintenance responsibilities, dealing with public issues related to the condition of the street. The exception on that lower piece that is outside the city limits, because we are the jurisdictional authority, we can, through this intergovernmental agreement, transfer maintenance responsibilities to them, but we still ultimately are not able to 100% get out of some responsibility that the county has for that piece until such time as it is inside city limits.
Yeah, and if I'm interrupting, but those three lots eventually, I don't know why they're not now, should square up and they'll be annexed at some point, I presume. Probably not
Yes,
very
they will.
long.
They're all inside the urban growth boundary, and it's just a matter of time before they develop or redevelop. So.
That was kind of my question, if I could. So it looks like there are either lots or residences along the roadway that is not in the city limits, right? But those, does the city limits, does it just cut off at Reserve Street then? And
Yes, I think what you see on that map, it's a little difficult to see, but there's kind of a dashed line that circles around those three lots on the west side of the road there at the lower part of the page. I think that's the actual city limit line. So that area to the south is newer
so it doesn't
subdivision.
go over to the road. Now I'm seeing it.
It
Okay, it doesn't go over
eventually
to, right.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it just looks like it's just a few lots that they need to scoot into where they'll.
Yes, and in fact, that big vacant-looking lot on the inside of the curve there at the bottom is actually a big farm field that's been discussed for potential residential development at some point.
Okay.
So that's also inside the urban growth boundary, and upon development, it would probably be within city limits at that time.
Right, because it just seems like, I mean, I agree, it would be really a bit cumbersome to have the county maintain that little strip of road on the one side, but we still have, is Evans Valley Road, that is still under county?
Yes, Evans
jurisdiction?
Valley Road from that 90-degree curve to the east is still county. And another piece, the street that's above Reserve Street on the west side of the road, you can just make out part of the name. It's actually called East Main Street. That a little portion of that is also still in the county, and we're having discussions now with the city about possibly trading that one.
Yeah.
It was kind of an oversight in this process that we were trying to get through so the development could proceed. So.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve an order transferring jurisdiction to the portion of Steelhammer Road to the city of Silverton as described.
And I'll second it. Further discussion? Then maybe I might just add for both these, I'm real pleased to see the county working with the city, trying to make sense and control for the betterment of the whole neighborhood, where everybody knows who's doing what, and the standards would be the same. So any further discussion?
No, I agree.
And hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. And the second item is we consider the approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Silverton in the amount of $110,000 for road maintenance and repair of Steelhammer Road. You've already discussed it, Cindy, but is there anything else? Go ahead.
There isn't anything additional other than just a reminder that part of the agreement is that as the city limits move out, the city will proceed with the request to the county at that time to do the formal jurisdictional transfer, so that eventually all of this will be under complete City of Silverton control.
Perfect.
So can I ask, the $110,000, is this different than the in-kind? I mean, are we actually paying cash to City of Silverton, or is this the in-kind value?
No, we're paying cash in this case.
Okay.
We estimated what it would cost for the treatment that the county would be putting on the road,
see.
which was, I think, like a 1.5-inch overlay, and basically put a value to that, construction value, and then offered that. So
I see. So instead of us going out and doing the work, we're giving them the money to the work we would have done.
yes,
Is that right? Okay.
yes, and this would be coming out of the money that we had dedicated to resurfacing this summer. So.
Okay. Anything you have on that?
No.
So I would move approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Silverton in the amount of $110,000 for road maintenance and repair of Steelhammer Road.
And I'll second it. And further, anything?
No?
All right,
Okay,
call a
great
question. All in
solution.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Very
Thank
good.
you.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
All right. Next then is we'll open contract review board and consider approval of the discretionary action on the Public Works invitation to bid for Howell Prairie Road culvert reconstruction. She's hurrying, so I'll slow down. Camber Schleg's here to discuss that. And
Good
looks
morning,
like it's pretty
Commissioners,
tiny.
member of the board. My name is Camber Schlag. I'm the Contracts and Procurement Manager within the Finance Department here in Marion County. And I am before you today to request to permit a correction of clerical error regarding an invitation to bid that was completed by Public Works on May 4th, 2016. They issued an invitation to bid for the reconstruction of Howell Perry Road culvert. It closed on May 19th, 2016. They received multiple bids, and the lowest bidder was found with an error where the handwritten line item prices and quantities all calculated correctly, but the handwritten contract number 2016-201, the total extension, was $110 less than the lines, than what it should have been. So the lines added correctly across, but not correctly down. So the correct bid amount is actually $144,257. If the county waives this minor informality and allows the correction of the clerical error, then the apparent lowest responsible bid becomes eligible for contract award. The second lowest bid was Lida Excavating Incorporated, and their bid was $184,900. If the county does not waive this minor informality, the bidder would be declared non-responsive and the award would move to the second lowest bidder. Marion County Public Contracting Rules Section 40-03502B states, the county may correct a clerical error if the error is evident on the face of the offer or other documents submitted with the offer, and the offerer confirms the county's correction in writing. A clerical error is an offerer's error in transcribing its offer. Unit prices shall prevail over extended prices in the event of a discrepancy between extended prices and unit prices.
All right. Do I
I
have
don't
to
have
save
any
you, John?
questions.
I do kind of have a question, but it's me. So it's like 25% different total bid from the lowest to the first. was a tiny error. Is that significant? I mean, do we often see that much gap in between bids? Is there something forgotten? Is there something else wrong?
I cannot speak to that
Okay.
part because I cannot speak to that part. But having a mathematical error like we have today, this is fairly common. I would say it probably happens once every year or once every other year.
This does meet the criteria that I know you're getting at, that it's minor and certainly to the benefit of the county to accept it. Just seems, I'm talking about different things that I'm just wondering
Well,
about. And
yeah.
it doesn't have to do with the question, so.
Yeah.
Do you have
Right.
anything?
No, I'm just analyzing
Where
so
it
they
is.
go strictly on the amount of the bid, right? So
Correct.
So that, I think this is another discussion in terms of whether you use low bid or whether you're not, because you see all of these instances where, I was just driving, where was I driving? Oh, I was over to McMinnville on Highway 99, and I was wondering whether the road was just bad or whether they'd actually tried to fix the road and it made it that bad. You know what I'm saying? And Lake County, a long time ago, they had, guy went out twice and, held up traffic all summer long for 2 years. It was horrible. But on this one, I'm looking at like their, where is it? The survey fee was construction survey work. Theirs is 500 and the others are like 6,000, 9,500, 3,500, 1,500. So I mean, there are areas, so maybe they just have cheaper surveyors or whatever. I would assume, since Cindy's out in the audience, that if there are pieces that are missing that they can't do the work, that becomes clear and they end up rejecting the whole contract if they can't do the work the way they promised to do it. Is that a fair statement?
They could issue a change order as well.
But if the change order brings them up to or over the next bid, then what happens?
Typically, change orders they come through as an amendment. If it's less than 20%, then Public Works has been delegated the authority to approve that. And if it's over 20%, it comes before the board for approval.
But you're not answering my question. My question is, so can people slip under, do you see what I'm saying? They get
Yes.
an artificially low bid, then they bring a
Correct it
change
later.
order, and then they're up where the second person was when they gave more realistic figures in the first place. So
And that's the county's discretion to decide if we approve that or not.
that doesn't seem like it would be right.
Right.
And to add to that, one of the varieties you see in those bid prices has a lot to do with how busy the contractors are at a given time. And in this case, this project is bid a little later than we'd like to, just because we're trying to stay caught up. Wanted to get this construction done this year and not go through another winter. And so I think that explains maybe the variety of bid prices you're seeing. This particular job also has some complications to it. It's a fairly deep culvert replacement. And so I think we see a lot of variability too in the bids based on the contractor's understanding of what level of effort's going to be required to do this kind of a special project. Commissioner Carlson, what was your question again? It was about the change orders?
Well, just the question about, so this bid is significantly less than the next highest bid. And say that the bidder has underestimated grossly what it takes. So then they come in with a change order, and the next highest one is like $40,000 more, or whatever it said in there. And their change order is like $50,000 because it was like, oh my gosh, we didn't realize this. And the other bidder could have got it under this bid process because they were more aware of what it took. I mean, is that what we're doing? That doesn't seem like it's fair to the other bidders if we allow someone to come in significantly under, but then we allow them to up their price up to or even over what the next bid was.
Well, to some degree that can happen, but the way we protect ourselves and try to eliminate that risk is, one, our design and how thorough we are in our design process to lay out the parameters so that there's less risk of an individual contractor assuming something or assuming responsibility for things underground that we might not know exist. The other way we do that is when we get the bids in, we review them to see that there's no unbalancing going on. In other words, some of the bid items are very prescriptive. I mean, you're going to see the same numbers from all the contractors. But then there's other things, because they've got their overhead built into these numbers. They also do a certain amount of hidden costs in there, and so we look to see if things look unbalanced. And if something looks awry, then we will raise that issue that, hey, we think we've got a problem here. And that can disqualify them from the bidding process. So between those steps, you still have some risk going into any construction project with unknowns, but generally those change orders, they have to be approved by the county. And if there's some huge oversight that there's no reason they should have missed that, then we aren't necessarily obligated to pay them for some of their oversights. Generally speaking, they're pretty small change orders. If we've done our job right and good all along the process, we shouldn't be in the position of having, a change order making up the difference between the first and the second bidders on this type of project.
Okay.
There's one other way that legitimate that maybe this company specializes or has that particular equipment to deal with this complication. I'm making this up that you talk about. So that's their advantage, and
yes,
then we benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with this late in the year bidding process, one of the things we run into is if the contractors have gotten quite a bit of other work and they're having to bring on second crews and additional staff, their cost is, you can see a huge difference sometimes in that bid.
I just want to make sure everything's fair and,
Me too.
But that also we get quality work out of it. That is really important. Can't have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, and we're acting under the Contract Review Board, so I would make a motion that we approve the discretionary action on the Public Works invitation to bid for Hell Prairie Road culvert reconstruction.
And I'll second it. Anything further?
Nope.
All right, all in favor then say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes, and thank you both for your work.
Good thing Cindy hung around after that item.
Close the Contract Review Board. And the last thing to do this morning is read the places, times where we'll be, a pretty good long list, where we'll be together in the coming week. Right off, and we're going to make it, and I wondered about it, at 10 o'clock, a public hearing of Marion County Extension and 4-H Service District fiscal year 2016-17 budget. That'll be in the Silverton Conference Room, 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem, so that's in a half hour. And then today at 3:30, a Business Services Staff Meeting, Senator Hearing Room, 1st floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. Tomorrow, City of Salem, Marion County meeting at the Sassy Onion, 1244 State Street in Salem. Now, this isn't on the list. There will be a special birthday celebration at noon tomorrow.
That's true.
I'd like you to come, so I thought
Well,
I'd
I
mention.
told them I'd be a little bit late to the meeting I'm in a meeting that starts at noon, so I'm going to come and grab my pizza and say happy birthday.
No, never mind. I don't need to read it then. All right, that could happen tomorrow at noon in 5th floor Courthouse Square. And then on the 18th, Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m., spaghetti dinner fundraising event, Scottish Rite Temple, 4090 Commercial Street, Southeast in Salem. Monday, 8:30 to 9, calendar review, Silverton Conference Room. And then following that in the same location, management update from 9 to 11. Also Monday, 1 o'clock to 4, Pay for Success Steering Committee, Commissioners Boardroom, 5th floor, 555 Court Street in Salem. On the 21st, Tuesday, 9:30 to 10:30, a work session having to do with the Covanta contract amendment, Silverton Conference Room, 5th floor, 555 Court Street in Salem. Wednesday, the 22nd, Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Task Force Public Safety Subcommittee, Community Action Agency, Room C, 2475 Center Street Northeast in Salem. Next Wednesday at 9 o'clock, a weekly Board of Commissioners meeting, board session. It'll be here in the Senator Hearing Room, 555 Court Street in Salem. Wednesday, 1:30 to 2:30, Capital Community Television taping, CCTV office, 575 Trade Street in Salem. That's followed, actually at the same time, but Wednesday, 2 to 3, the Mid-Willamette Homeless Initiative Task Force Financial Subcommittee, Silverton Conference Room, 555 Court Street in Salem. And then on Wednesday, the 22nd, 3 to 4:30, the Insight Board of Directors and Mid-Willamette Jobs Council meeting in the Insight Boardroom, Suite 305, 626 High Street Northeast in Salem. So it is
Yeah,
kind of a busy week coming.
Well, let me correct, I think the Public Safety Subcommittee for the Homeless Initiative moved to 9 o'clock, so it'll be from 9 to 10 on 6/22.
Okay?
I just saw that as something that came out day before yesterday. So.
All right, anything else that we ought to tackle, mention?
No, I spent the week in Boise with my grandson, and it was so sweet.
I
Such a
noticed
sweet
you-
little boy. But I'm really tired.
Oh, oh,
Watching your grandson is exhausting. So,
really?
yeah, it is, yeah.
Well, I know.
But we
Right.
went to a farm, we went to the park twice, we went to Toys R Us,
I saw one picture and it said something like he has all these toys available and he wanted to do something else.
well, so there's this, when, he loves Old MacDonald Had a Farm, that's his
Well,
favorite
sure.
song, and he's, you know, he is just learning how to speak now, and so he's had known sign language for a while, but he's becoming verbal, so he knows all the signs for the different animals, and he's starting to say the different animals. So the last year for his birthday, we took him to Linder Farms, and it was wonderful. They had you came in, there was the red barn, and like a tractor pulls little cars around, and there's haystacks and inflatables and different things he could do, and he just loved it. Well, I was trying to find that experience for him, but this Linder Farms is only open in the fall for pumpkin season, and Babby Farms was open in the spring, and Babby Farms has a mission to help children with disabilities, so it seemed like a really nice place. They had farm animals and exotic animals, and so, but it was 30 plus miles away, so it took about 45 minutes to drive there. So we'd get the cooler ready with the yogurt, and we get the diapers, and we put everything in, and we put them in the car seat, and we drive all the way out towards Caldwell, and we get out there and park the car, and then we go up and we buy food, and we end up feeding the goats. He thought that was cute. They had kangaroos, they had lemurs, they had 3 otters. They had what was supposed to be like a spotted leopard, but it looked like our kitty tabby cat. I think it was running around the cage. I was like, wait a minute. I'm not sure this is really an exotic animal. Looks like a house cat. But they had a bison and a yak, and so, but he was just kind of mildly interested in all of that. And then I got him out of the stroller, and he takes off like a shot over this big sand pile where they had 2 slides, kind of a jungle gym.
So this is the
right,
best
right. And so he spent the next 30 to 45 minutes going down this plastic slide, which, it's like, so you pay admission and drive like 45 minutes to go out to somewhere where he
But
goes
you
on a
found
slide
what
that
he
he could have
likes.
done in the park down on the corner for free, but oh well. So I put on Facebook, there were pony rides too. I put pony rides, exotic animals, and Brock wants to do this. And he goes,
Whatever they
ooh, down the
want.
slide.
Do you have anything to add this morning? I thought maybe I had to rescue you at one time.
Well, I think your grandchild is responsible for your illness too, is that
Oh,
right?
My grandchild is,
Yeah.
All right.
we are having dinner with my grandchildren for Father's Day.
Oh, yeah, that will be nice.
So do they get you anything? I said, yeah, I know. That fathers don't get anything. No, it's a fact. They just kind of just assume they'll be there, and you shouldn't, and get nothing. And I have it even worse because I have a birthday on the 11th and the next week. So I get if it's mentioned, I get the combined deal.
Ah,
I also have a birthday next week.
So you get the
That's
same
true.
trap, one item. Yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it?
I feel so sorry for us.
Yeah.
yeah.
I might get you something, John.
I'll get you something.
That'd be swell. All right, anything else this morning?
Yep.
If not, let's call this meeting adjourned.